Well, folks, it's wintertime in the Rockies, and it's time for a boot review. And we're taking a look today at the Keen Targhee High Lace-Up Waterproof Winter Boots. That's right, everybody. Welcome back. Really excited to do this boot review for you. Recently, I picked these up in the fall, knowing that I wanted to test out a new winter boot for all of my outdoor treks that we do here in the Rocky Mountains. And I've had a bunch of time with this boot now in all types of different temperatures and different types of trail conditions. I've gone snowshoeing with this, did my very first snowshoeing trek with this guy. It was right around about 25 to 30 degrees the whole time we were doing that. I've done tons of shoveling snow over at the house in temperatures all the way down into the single digits, as well as up into the 40s. I've hiked with these things in the 40-degree range, and then I've done a long day trek up to one of our Blade boot camps when it was about 17 degrees starting at the car and then standing around for about 4 hours. Not a lot of movement around working, doing videos, doing things like that in these boots. So I've had a lot of different terrain and a lot of different cold temperatures all the way down again into the single digits for about an hour when I was shoveling snow. So I can give you guys an overview of some of the capabilities of this Keen boot, why I wanted to test this one out, pros and cons, and break down what this boot has to offer and whether or not it's something to look into when you need a cold weather boot and you need lots of traction, you want that waterproof high top feature. So let's give you the rundown on these boots, and I'll talk about how I've seen them perform for me here in the Rockies. Now, this is over the ankle height support, so that I really like that. It gives you really good support and height, not only when you're trekking through snow, but just the support as well. So that's a good thing with those laces lacing up high over the ankle. It has a waterproof membrane, which is working well. I haven't had soaking through of any issue compared to other thermal, snow, winter boots that I've tested and reviewed. And this is all leather, so that's one aspect. I just like the look of it. It really connected with me, and leather is always more durable, than like nylon and those type of things. So it has a waterproof leather. The leather is salt resistant, so that helps when you're doing a lot of salting of sidewalks. Maybe you're using this as a work boot, something like that. And it actually contains leather from a tannery rated gold by the LWG, or Leather Work Group. I don't know what that means, but they're bragging about it, so it's got to be good, right? So just for those of you who may know, that is what the leather is. So waterproof leather, waterproof membrane here, using Keen's Keen Dry Waterproof. This has a temperature Keen warmth rating because it has 200 gram insulation. It says negative 25 Fahrenheit, negative 32 degrees Celsius is what this is rated for. Some of you be like, awesome. Some of you be like, that's not quite enough for me. I need even more. So just depending on your environment, for me, I'm usually not out in anything below 0. Actually the coldest that we've ever really experienced here in any of my treks and outdoor stuff that I've done, we did do a day hike where it was 7 degrees out, and it got up to, I think, like high teens that day. And that's really about the coldest environment that I'm usually out in. I've done some snow shoveling, over the years, not in these boots, but over the years, and maybe like -5 or something like that. So I'm not in those really frigid temperatures. So you can take that with, a grain of salt when you're considering the heat retention. For me, I got to tell you, the heat retention was really good. I was very happy with that. Some of that has to do with the cut of the boot that we'll talk about in just a moment. But for me, in my environment here in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, I would say from single digits through to like 40-50 degrees, no issues whatsoever. And when I did do a couple treks where I was in the 40s, I didn't have any excessive sweat in the boot either because of the insulation and the waterproof membrane. It seemed to breathe decently for a waterproof boot, and it wasn't overly hot as well, but definitely retained the heat, and I was very happy with that. I didn't have cold toes, frigid feet, which can be a deal killer when you're hiking and doing trekking and stuff like that, or even just hanging around a campfire or whatever. I was very happy with the heat retention that it gave me with that 200 grams of insulation. Now, the midsole is dual density compression molded EVA midsole. It does have an ESS shank for added stability. So that's going to give you strength down the sole when you're walking. You know, it's not super flexible in that regard. It does have a Clean Sport NXT technology offering natural odor control, and I will agree that they're not overly smelly or anything like that. And then a rubber outsole delivering cold weather traction with 4mm multi-directional lugs, and that's what we're looking at here. And it's like a no mark, you know, sole. And so we'll look here real briefly. Hopefully you guys can see that down in there. It does have a thermal insole that is removable, that does give some good cushion in there. So if you did have your own insoles that you wanted to do, maybe arch support, you know, whatever things you may be needing, it does offer some of that as well. Now, cool added features that I really look for in a snow boot is that this has a little attachment for your gaiters, and I use gaiters often and frequently when I'm out there, particularly if I'm snowshoeing or things like that. So it does have that little hook that isn't buried. Some of my other ones that I have, the hook is buried and you really got to dig in there, and sometimes, you know, when it's cold and icy and maybe you took your gaiters off for a little while and now you're putting them back on, it's just a pain in the neck. So this is nice that it's kind of exposed and out there. And we'll touch price on these Keens real quick for us. I got these on the sale for I think like $130, and I'm seeing them on some sites that are around that price right now. Average going rate MSRP I believe is $160 to $170, and when you look at other boots, you know, similar design, materials, it's very competitive. It's very similar to what is out there. You can obviously look around, see if there are deals, sales going on, things like that. But for around the, you know, I'll say 150 to 170 price point, you're in the range of a lot of other brands, regardless if they're Solomon, Vask, those type of companies, Merrill, they're all going to be right around in there. So now you just got to determine, is the things that this is offering something that stands out to you, something that you want, the materials, maybe the temperature rating, things like that will help you determine if this is the right boot or if there are other things out there. Now, we'll have links in the description below for you guys that you can take a look at. We appreciate when you purchase through those hyperlinks that we offer to you, regardless if it's these boots or other gear just in general. We just appreciate it when you purchase through the links that are offered to you. You can check those in the description below. Now, another aspect to Keens that I like, this actually being my first pair, but I've tried on a few in the past, is this huge overmold rubber toe. I really like this front reinforced toe because not only is it not going to pull like maybe some other types of toes that have the outsole coming up to a point and it's kind of glued and has a tendency to maybe come unglued, but it gives you a lot of durability and reinforcement when you are maybe banging up against ice, snow, or harder rocky conditions, which here in the Rocky Mountains we absolutely encounter on a regular basis. So the toe is very tough and durable and gives you this big kind of front end like bulldozer to push through the problems that you may face on the trail. Now, the other aspect is the toe box, and this is actually why I wanted to try these Keens out, is that my Vask Cold Sparks, which I do love and have used for a couple years now, they've been very durable, lasted well, kept my feet warm, all the things that I look for in a boot. But the only drawback was that I was finding that the toe box is a little narrow when I would put on my really heavy wool socks in those colder conditions. And it was kind of constricting my foot a little bit and causing my feet to feel colder than they should because of some of the constriction, just because it's a little bit of a narrower cut. And so I have normal size feet. I wear size 11. These are size 11 boots. All the sizing is great on these. But I had experienced some swimming in older Keen boots that I tried, like the toe box was just too big. So I said, well, maybe this will be a good fit for me, needing thicker wool socks, having a little bit more space in the toe box to not have it so constricting, maybe have really good blood flow down there in cold conditions, particularly if I'm standing around while I'm working on some bushcraft or things like that. And so that's what I went with, and it does have a really good, generous toe box. It's not narrow anywhere on this boot, but I didn't feel like I was swimming either, particularly with my thick wool socks. So I feel like the toe box is a good, if you're looking for something with a little bit of a wider toe box, not huge, but good size, this is gonna offer that to you, and that can be a plus, particularly in cold weather environments, so you have better blood flow down to your toes. Now we'll hit these 4mm lugs just real quick. Now it's not Vibram, I would have liked to see that, but what I'm discovering is a lot of companies for their cold weather shoes, I don't know why they don't do Vibram. I don't know if Vibram doesn't hold up. I would assume it would under cold weather conditions, or maybe it's just too expensive. But the lugs are fantastic, really, really grippy. Never had any issues, even when, like on the driveway when I was shoveling snow and it's kind of icy, snowshoeing, doing hiking on icy trails. I really had to get to some really bad ice spots before I put on my cleats because of these lugs and how well they're lined up. Good support right here on kind of a supported arch, and it had decent arch support. It doesn't have a high arch, and I don't have a high arch. I have a very average foot. I don't have high or low feet arches. This supported my foot well, but the lugs and just the overall outsole, I was really pleased with the design. Now we'll do a twist test just to show you here because of that shank. That's about as much as I can twist that guy. I'm gonna really crank on it. That was something that a couple viewers, when I did my Instagram post, suggested that I do, is hey, try to twist it, see what that is, so you guys can determine. Again, I've had these for, I think, man, I bought these in the fall, so I don't remember, 3-4 months, something like that. Lots of hikes now, worn them to work on colder days, you know, hiked several miles in them, done all sorts of different conditions, worn them around the house, in the property when I'm doing shoveling of snow and walking the dog and all kinds of stuff. And I'm very happy with them. I don't have long-term durability marks for you because I haven't had them for a long period of time, but I'm not seeing any excessive wear. I'm not seeing any glue pulling away, any sort of issues with the different environments that I've been in, and the below zero, but definitely, above zero, but below freezing conditions that I have regularly worn these in for a few months now. That is the one feedback that I got, is that certain people, they said that they have usually a shelf life of about 2 years, and I don't know how aggressive they're using them. Before my viewers and the people that I've connected with said that the support starts to kind of give out on these particular models. Now, that's a data point you can weigh from not only myself, but also several other people that I have just reached out to, said, hey, what do you guys think about this type of boot online on our Instagram and Facebook pages? And I've got an overwhelming response of positivity towards these Keen boots and the experience that other people have had and the popularity that these boots seem to have. Well, guys, final thoughts are, for the rest of 2020, I'm going to be going to this boot every time I need to go out in the snow or cold weather conditions, and I'm going to be parking my Vask Cold Sparks for the time being, just for some of the things that we've hit on and touched on today, a lot of it just being the bigger overall size of the shoe, the toe box and those features, and seeming, because the foot isn't so constricted, keeping my foot a little bit warmer than other insulated boots that I have been using in the past. So I'm digging this. So far, I'm absolutely loving every aspect of it. Obviously, the next few years will touch on the longevity and durability of the long-term use of the boot, but initial out of the box, and for the several months now that I've been using it, I've been impressed with its capability and features and retention and waterproof capability that it has, that we've been touching on today. But would love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. What do you think about these Keen boots? Have you had good experiences or not on this brand? Because I know lots of people will read the comments below, and it's always good to see other data and feedback that you guys have as well. I know that this has gotten 5 stars or like 4.8 on many different shoe sites. When you go look and see what are people saying, what are customers saying, that they seem to have a lot of good things to say about this particular model, regardless if it's this cold weather version or their lighter summertime versions that they have available as well. So take a look at that, and always remember, guys, to check us on Facebook and Instagram. We're always throwing up stuff there. I want to give a shout out to all of those of you who support through PayPal. We really appreciate you guys. And if that's something that you want to do, you like the content here, and you just want to help support in a different way on top of using links and different things like that, that you want, if you want to, there's the PayPal links below. You can just send like $5, $10 a month can really help keep the content going, help me buy gear just like this to give you guys videos that you see here, so you can have good feedback. And it's an investment that you're getting to be able to put in the channel, and then you get the content put back out there for you guys. And I just appreciate all of you, no matter if you're just a viewer and you just thumbs up and like, no matter if you support through PayPal or you just use the hyperlinks when you're purchasing gear that stand out to you and connect with you. Always appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Check the other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.